I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore, guys.
There's already people in here. This is crazy.
Always good to see people hanging out, man.
Oh yeah.
It's Monday, by the way.
I don't know what day today is. Today,
You're not streaming yet, are you?
what's that?
You're not streaming yet, are you?
Oh yeah, we're totally streaming.
Okay, that's what I thought. I figured this
know
was
what day
your
of the week
intro.
it is anymore,
Yeah.
guys.
You're not
There's
talking over the
already
intro,
people
right?
in here. This is crazy.
Always good. I can hear us. I can hear us talking. How do I get rid of this?
It's Monday, by the
Press
way.
mute.
I don't know what.
You're not streaming yet, are you?
Oh, there we go. All set. And let's get this show started, man. Let's go see that viewer takeover introduction.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Let's make this thing happen, and we're gonna do that right.
What's up, Gamecast? This is your boy Todd Gill, watching my daughter play some kitten, PSVR. This is Princess Tegan, the VR gamer girl.
Daddy, I'm done.
You done? Why, Princess Tegan?
It's time for Viewer Takeover with Johnny and
Oh, awesome. Let's go watch Viewer Takeover.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Viewer Takeover, where we film every Monday night. Nothing makes sense anymore. We're doing this live. This
Fuck it.
is
We'll
way
do it live.
Right up, what up, guys. My name's Brian Paul from this channel right here, and these guys hanging out with me, as always, are Dave from Dave Station VR and AJ from PSVR Underground. This was a last-minute decision. Sorry we didn't give you guys any warning. I'm not sure what happened there, but hey, what the heck? Let's do this thing, right? You guys got anything interesting going on while I fix some of the things that are broken here?
Well, I think everybody has something interesting going on with this crazy coronavirus nonsense.
Can we
And so I
not
feel
say the
like-
C word for
Well, here's the
5
thing.
minutes?
The C
Here's the
word.
thing. I wanted to do this so we can keep people inside on this Monday night before your bars and restaurants are closed. Because you might feel like, hey, I want to go out to a bar. Bad idea.
So what
Stay
you're
in your
saying
house.
is we had to do
Stay in
this to
your
keep
house.
Dave from going out to the bar.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to go out to the bar. I've even prepared. I've got a little shot for myself.
You guys, while Brian's getting that ready, the most adorable thing ever I saw, I think it was Shed Aquarium up in Chicago. They've closed down the aquarium, and they're letting the penguins walk around like tourists. You have to see it, man. It's the most
And they
amazing
look
thing
like
I've ever
tourists,
seen.
too. Yeah.
What is up, Scott Murray, the Phoenix, the Extremists, the Strifelon, Veraden, Communist Being the Cat Game, Great Tantrum, JB, Center 669, the Unholy Game Cat, Delirium True, Hack the Game Cat, it's lit, y'all. Evan, the Game Cat, what's up, dude? Void, Farpoint, Frownies, hello. Your Bud Enigma, hello, Bud Enigma. Brad out of hell, the Game Cat, Ultimate Punch Cat, still gunning for those touring carts. Scores at some point. Just incredible. What's up?
And that's everybody?
Says I'm looking a little pale.
Sweet.
Don't tell me that.
You're looking pale? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, you're also looking kind of sweaty. And why are you shaking?
How's your fever?
Be fine. No, I'm good to go. I'm
right.
powered by PlayStation.
Well, I'll tell you something right now, guys. This is not a different setup than our normal Gamescast live setup, but for some reason the chat's not showing up on the screen. I cannot figure it out. I tried like 5 times. So
Okay.
I don't know what's going on there, but at least when you watch this on YouTube, you can generally enable the live chat and see it. So
I put the pop out chat in the Discord if you want to use it. But
I mean, it's not a different pop-out chat than the one I just copied and pasted 6 times.
all right.
Oh well.
Yep.
Click the little eye next to it to see if is it turned off.
Yeah, no,
With the
that's
little eye.
here. You know, what, let me try AJ's because he's the magical fairy of the group. Boy, that sounded wrong, didn't it? But hey, I'll
It seemed fine with it.
I didn't realize I had this kind of power.
some very awesome powers. And it magically worked. The magical fairy
look at that.
uses magical powers and made the chat work. So thank you very much. We appreciate you, AJ, the fairy. This is what happens when we just do a random show for no apparent
Off the
reason.
cuff. Yeah, no preparation, guys. We did not mean to do this. We just decided to for no real good reason. Oh, what's the point of this show, Brian? What do we do on Viewer Takeover?
I mean,
Let's talk about.
no one knows. No one knows. We just hang out. We waste people's time. We
I
talk
thought
for
I'd
8
ask
goddamn
anyway.
minutes before we do anything. But mostly we want to thank a lot of people. That's what we want to do before we even tackle
Yeah.
questions. And I think the first person we'd like to thank would be this guy right here.
Todd.
Oh, there.
What?
Everything goes horribly wrong. There we go. I got it. Here we go. And there he is in the side of the screen. That is Todd Gio with his Princess Tegan VR gamer girl daughter. Thank you so much for this awesome Viewer Takeover introduction. Adorable, right? From start to finish.
Yes, it
Everything
was like
about it.
him-
Him,
the
and
cutest-
don't forget
Probably the
Princess
cutest one we've
Tegan,
seen.
the VR queen.
Game Cat.
Princess
Cat?
Tegan, the VR
That's
gamer
right.
girl.
There you go.
Okay,
I
that
think-
works. Yeah.
Thought it was Game Cat. All right. Anyways,
It's
adorable.
as if I already said it before you told me to say it. It's insanity. But you know what?
Man.
You made the chat work, so we're gonna like lay off you a little bit tonight.
Man, I mean, whenever somebody sends us like a viewer takeover and it's got like their children in it and they're playing PSVR and they're all speaking in their little voices, like, man, it just melts my heart, dude. It's so adorable.
Does it make you
guys
want to have
got
children?
Tons no, absolutely not. God, let's hold the phone.
Yeah, right.
Hold the phone.
Excellent.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
And of course, the other people we want to thank are people who changed their name to GameCat. Since we're doing this live, there's no real way to show the people that changed their name to GameCat, but we will give a shout out to Robert Meadows, the GameCat that wouldn't die, who was formerly Hugh Downs' GameCat 2020. And also we want to thank our loyal Patreon supporters who normally would be down here. But again, a live show, very difficult to do without a lot of setup.
Yeah.
I will say Robert Meadows' name change is a great one. That's for everybody who doesn't know. That's our good guy, Rethmania, just Reth for short. One of the first people I met and befriended. Always cracks me up. And the reason he changed it is because he got a letter in the mail saying that he had died.
Oh, I don't
Oh,
know this
nice.
story. This is interesting.
That's
Oh,
a cool
you
story.
didn't
Let's hear
see
that.
this.
I'd like to hear
Yeah,
this.
no, that was the story. Was
Behind
that
the music.
he received a thing in the mail and
Addressed
it
to
said-
him, saying you
It
died.
said,
Robert
that
Meadows.
I'm sorry to
Addressed to
inform
Robert
you that
Meadows?
Robert Meadows has passed away, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
Who did they
And so-
think was going to read the letter if it was addressed to him?
I have no idea. Clearly a mistake on the morgue's behalf. Who sends those out? I don't know.
Who sends it?
But no, Robert
what do they
Meadows
get
is
to
still
look?
alive.
I think
Everybody,
it's under rights, yeah.
all good to go.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Good to know.
But of course, the other thing we really do here is tackle viewer takeover questions. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your questions, and then we talk about them. Who are we? We're fucking nobody.
Yeah.
Right?
But
So-
we should specify here that usually we do this in a vacuum without people having the ability to actively ask questions.
Yeah.
So I think for this one, we're going to start our normal way where we just take the canned questions we already got and talk about those. You guys can totally discuss them and chime in the chat, and we'll probably read some comments around those discussions. But then at the end, as long as we're not running too long, we might take some chat questions. I think.
No, we'll get you guys, but we want to definitely answer the questions for those that put hashtag viewer takeover in the Discord in any video the proper way, and we want to answer those first since they took the time to do that, and then we might pop it off with a couple questions from you guys who are
That's
tuning
right.
in.
That is
Shoot the
right.
shit.
All right, well, guys, I think we should probably get this thing started with the very first viewer takeover question that comes to us from Billy Pod, the Game Cat, from PSVR this week, saying now that Microsoft has revealed hardware specs for the Series X, the wait for PlayStation 5 news is even harder to deal with. What do you think? Why do you think Sony is holding back? And do you think their silence is going to affect the outcome of the next console war? Hashtag viewer takeover, like a pro. Ooh, I need
First
a
of all,
shower.
I mean, the wait was really tough to deal with until they said the message of we're not currently ready to reveal anything. And then I was like, okay, so I'm just going to pretend like, hit that reset button and just wait patiently again. Do I want to see specs and stuff, official stuff on the PS5? Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the truth is, I don't really, who knows what's going on right there. It could be business related stuff, could be manufacturing related issues. People aren't even allowed or supposed to be coming into close contact with each other right now. So they're kind of actually in a good position. I know people are impatient. We want people to be satisfied, of course. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And, you've got Xbox is currently like, they're revealing their specs, which I think is great. I think that is what Xbox needs to be doing right now because they severely lost this gen from their beginning. But then, stuff like the Xbox Live has been going off and on lately, and that's not a good look. So I'd rather them hold off and do it when they're ready than try to jump the gun, get nervous, and then make mistakes like that.
I guess I'm just not the exact type of nerd that cares about specs in a console that much. Because, like, I'm looking at these specs on this Xbox, and I'm like, I don't even know what 12 teraflops really means. Or what do 8 Zen 2 cores at 3.8 gigahertz, like, is that going to be... I used to build computers and stuff, and this doesn't even... I don't care about this shit. I want to know what games are going to be on it, and I already know that it's going to run everything much, much better than the PS4. So specs, I'm not really hung up on. They don't need to release... For me to be excited, I could care less what the actual breakdown, like this CPU, GPU memory. I mean, storage is important, stuff like that. But in general, I'm not too...
Well, the processing speed and the graphics card are definitely important. But one thing we do know is that
we already know that the PS5 has something that's really good in it, regardless of what number I see on the screen. Assume. Everyone's saying it's fucking beautiful machine and it runs great and it's
right. The thing is, because I get asked a lot, do I care? They're like, what do you think about the latest rumor? And this was a rumor that came from the guy that same source that called the Xbox specs to the T, pretty much. Got it 100% right, and now he's saying that the PS5 is going to have 13 teraflops. Now these are still just rumors; they're not confirmed. Although he has been proven right once. But when all these rumors were going out and about, I really was just like, I don't care, because what I do know is that they're going to be similar to each other. Whether the PS5 was 9 teraflops or 13 teraflops, do I want it to be as high processing speed and everything as powerful as it can be? Yeah, absolutely. But I knew it would be in the general vicinity of each other of both consoles, and it wasn't going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing to keep in mind, is that this is all going to be like pretty much irrelevant. Like when we're getting to the point where the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox are just supercharged versions of what we already have, we're not even going to see the difference. Whether PlayStation 5 ends up being the less powerful one or the more powerful one, we're not even going to see that difference for a couple of years. Because it's going to be like this massive
slight difference.
What's that?
Very, very slight difference.
But right, but even like a couple of years from now, like when they're starting to use the full potential of the console, is when we'll start seeing that difference, whether it be slight or more. The first couple of years are going to be identical, no matter which console is slightly more powerful than the other one. Developers they're still used to using, working with the specs of the current gen consoles, and so. It's not like they're just going to automatically be like, and now our world is 150 times bigger and everything's running at 4K and 120 frames a second. That's just not really. It's just not really the reality of what's going to be happening from day one, and it won't be happening for a couple of years.
It could be. It could be. There could be something. And yeah, I don't think. I mean, obviously, not everyone's going to have 8K TVs once when PS5 launches. Like, I don't even know if the first 8K TV is like commercial yet. So things like that, I mean, that holds ground to like what you're saying there. But yeah, I think another big important thing is like the like what Justin Incredible says here is the specs only matter to determine the VR performance. Do you think PlayStation has a leg up in this situation by having VR, or do you think nobody's asking for it?
I mean, at the end of this question, it's something about the upcoming console wars. And I think, games content and different experiences that are exclusive are what's going to drive PlayStation forward, and Xbox is not going to have VR for the foreseeable future. So they're kind of already at a loss there in terms of like exciting new gaming experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they want to be the console that's like, this will look as good as a high-end PC on your 4K TV, and it's better than PlayStation in terms of raw power. But that only goes so far, and only certain people care about stuff like that. And I'm not really one of those people. So
Yeah, all I care about is PlayStation VR. Like I haven't played a flat game to any great length of time for years now.
well,
I've
you
tried.
got to play Animal Crossing with me.
Dude, I bought Luigi's Mansion for PAX East, and I still haven't played it. So lesson learned
Send
on
it
that.
to me. I want to play it.
Yeah, that's
Secret Sub says these are the arguments I had in the 80s with my mates over the Spectrum 48K and the Commodore 64.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yes. When I was growing up and stuff, it was the Super Nintendo versus the Sega. I think that was it. I mean, that's the first console
Sega
war I
Genesis,
remember.
Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo, and of course,
Right.
if you were me, you were throwing the TurboGrafx into the mix just for funsies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you had to be a little older, because I didn't encounter anybody who even knew what the hell a TurboGrafx was.
One of my friends had one. One of my friends had one. Everyone else had a Super Nintendo or Genesis, and one of my friends had TurboGrafx. And the second I saw Bunk, I was sold. I was like, yeah, this is actually really good.
Hey, look, we got a Tree Guy appearance here.
Whoa.
Who would have thought?
Not on my mind. Oh my God! That's from how many games can a Game Cat game the Game Cat? $2
Wait a
donation
name.
saying I'll be buying both this time. Yeah, that's something I want to see in the comments. Like I know most of you guys are going to be PlayStation 5 owners. Obviously, if you're PlayStation VR people, you want to like jump on board the next thing that's going to support your headset. But how many of you guys are actually definitely already considering the Xbox Series X?
No, I always buy a PlayStation, like always have a PlayStation. That's rule number one. Rule number two is maybe I get a Nintendo console too. I think with VR, it's kind of changed because I used to have a PlayStation and a Nintendo. And now it's kind of like I have the VR and then the flat screen games. And I barely play flat screen games anymore at all. Like I even try. I bought Resident Evil 2. I bought DMC5, Blasphemous, all great games. But like they don't scare me. They don't like keep me engaged like they used to. So all my focus has been on just VR side. And if I don't play VR, I'm like maybe dabbling in some flat screen PlayStation games.
So the one thing I'm thinking is somebody who actually does still do some flat screen. I've always liked what I've heard about the Xbox Game Pass, and it seems like for flat games, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Like, think about it this way.
It wasn't
For
bad. I had it for a little bit for the month
exclusives-
that I had an Xbox.
For exclusives in VR, Sony. For early access and Game Pass, and also Phantasy Star Online 2. I really want to play Phantasy Star Online 2.
Yeah.
Maybe I would get an Xbox for that. But I can't imagine a time in the near future when I'd have enough money for both an Xbox Series X and a PS5.
Yeah.
So
I will say that I learned from experience this generation. I had bought an Xbox One soon after launch. I picked up a few games for it, stuff that I was really interested in playing. I even downloaded a few digital games. And after about 2 years of never playing it more than maybe like 3 or 4 times, Dez's 360 died. And I was like, here, just have my Xbox One.
wow.
Yeah, because I never used it, and let's be honest, the dude worked for Without Parole for like 3 years without getting paid a single cent.
He earned it. He earned it.
So I was like, here, just have my Xbox One, like this backward compatible, have fun, and I didn't miss it. Usually when I give something away or I sell something, I miss it right away. I do not miss my Xbox One and haven't for a second. So I learned from this generation, I'm not going to waste my money because I'm simply not going to play it. As great as it might be, as great as the games might be, as amazing as some of the exclusives might be, I'm just not going to find time for it. I'm a PlayStation guy.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
Through and through.
Yeah, I wish if they were like 24 more extra hours every day, I would absolutely find time to play my Switch that never gets used, my Quest, which never gets used. Yes, Dave.
I will say this is actually the perfect the absolutely perfect segue into our next question, which I'd like to introduce now, if you guys are okay with that.
But of course, David, thank you.
All right. This comes from Lady, aka Zakotron
You know,
HQ.
Zakotron, that's a familiar name.
Zakotron from the Discord. It says hashtag viewer takeover. Maybe it's not a bad idea to think about doing Quest stuff also on your channel. That's why I thought it was a good segue. I saw some polls from the Sirento devs where 60% of the people are playing on Quest, 20% on PSVR, 20% on Rift. I see it also in my PSVR online friends list. So many move to the next system, and the next system is the Quest. Now that is a big, let's debate this. There's a big underline, the next system is the Quest, because I don't believe that's true, but let's talk about this one.
Well, I think that's like saying the Switch is the next system, right? The next big console, and because it's a wonderful thing, and it's great to throw in your bag and take with you, and it's got some cool exclusives. But it's not. If I would go out of my mind if the Switch was the only console I had this generation. It just wouldn't have the games I'm looking for. Wouldn't have the power to play the games I want to play. And so that's sort of the parallel you can make, because the Quest is the Switch of this generation. It's convenient. It's wireless. I mean, you're saving one wire, but it's got its advantages, but it's also super underpowered. You're not going to be able to play Resident Evil 7 or Skyrim or any big open world games on it, and even the good looking games still don't really hold up as far as like, comparing it to a nice PlayStation VR game. So it's a nice secondary headset to have, but I would never consider it the next big thing.
It's not.
I think it is a nice
next
like
big thing for VR as a market. But if you already have a PSVR, it's not the next best thing. Sorry, AJ, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I think it's right now, but if it was about hardware, if I just to me the Quest, the most appealing thing about it is the like you said, the wireless and the thumbsticks and the better and the different tracking, the better tracking. But to me, it's always been about the games. If I wanted, if I were to get another headset or something, I'd probably go try and go big with like a Rift or something. I probably wouldn't go for the Quest out of all the other VR headsets.
So the thing at this point, though, with that is, if you got a Rift, or if you had a PC that could run a Rift, you could use a Quest with the Quest Link cable, and it would work just as well. And you would also have the ability to use it wireless. So there's really not a great reason to buy a Rift anymore if you have a computer that can run it.
Well, let me ask you, though. If you plug it in, does it have the better graphics and everything, or does it take
running off
downscale it?
No, it's not running from your Quest at all. It's basically just
that would be the
right.
thing. But at the end of the day, if I can't play Resident Evil 7, I've always loved the games. It's about the gameplay for me. This is why, something like To the Top and Crisis Brigade, those are graphically, they're a little bit more basic looking, but these are like To the Top, I've put over 100 hours into, and I've just always trusted Sony to give me the games that I want. And they're not always the most popular, if I wanted that though, I don't know, it's not about, for me, it's about the exclusives, the games themselves. I do, as much as I say I'm not a graphics snob, I think I kind of am, because I do care about a game looking really nice and polished and glossy and looking pretty good, and stuff like
how's No Man's Sky holding up over there?
Oof. No Man's Sky is blurry, but I love that game to death before VR, so it makes it easier. But No Man's Sky I can play all day, every day. It doesn't matter. But things like Skyrim and things like Resident Evil 7, Astrobot, they look amazing.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of games that I get from sticking with PlayStation. And there's just nothing. 25 years, nothing is gonna pull me away from that unless they say, you know what, forget the past 25 years. We're going to do something new. We're going to try a new direction. Then I'd put them under a microscope and whatever. But no, you'd have to pry me off PlayStation, like the brand and the games and the exclusives. I don't care if it doesn't have thumbsticks. I don't care if there's like you said, it's one wire. That wire does not bother me at all.
Right. Let's do this update.
All right. We got to take a moment. Yeah.
And that's
It is Treeland. That's for
Thank you. Go ahead, Dave.
Joe Grover with the $10. And he says, see what happens when you go live, big smiley face. I tried replaying Horizon and Red Dead Redemption 2 the other day. Had them before I discovered PSVR. Absolutely zero interest in them now due to being flat. Good games, but flat.
It's a problem.
Fair enough.
It is a
lot of people
problem.
feel that way.
Experience is gone
Yeah.
for me.
This
The games are fun. The games are really
Amazing.
lengthy, but
Amazing
yeah,
games.
they are amazing games. But yeah, there's something just missing about the experience. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
I
said
get-
you
I
said you're a
get,
graphics snob, AJ, but man, it's like I think you have to be more interested in immersion these days. You have to be ready
yeah.
to sacrifice graphical fidelity and quality to be in the game. Because there's no
Right.
games that looking as good as Horizon or Red Dead 2. But holy crap, man, I will sacrifice that level of polish for the immersion you get in VR. It was a game changer. I was losing interest in games. I talked about this a lot back in the day. I was losing interest in video games, and PSVR came out and just literally renewed everything. Made me
Same.
feel so excited to play every single new thing that I could get my hands on. So yeah, I was gonna say totally agree, but apparently, holy guacamole, Joe Grover, we fucking agree with you.
Yeah, Bloodborne to me was like
This is my tree world.
one of the most. Let me finish with that tip real quick.
Okay.
Bloodborne to me was like one of the most immersive games I played on the flat screen.
Same.
And yeah, it was amazing that it could be that immersive. So, go ahead, Dave.
I wasn't going to read it. I was just hitting the
I forgot the rest I was going to say, so you can go ahead.
All right, and that other one comes
Right.
from Johnny Rypop, the stray cat, with the Canadian $7, saying, well, gents, I'm off to bed and going to listen to your sweet, sweet voices. Thank you for everything you do. Everyone here, stay breathtaking. Johnny Rypop, thank you so very much for the donation and the nice comment. Also, dude's going to be working some serious overtime lately, so
Make that money.
yeah, we wish you luck, man. Like, make sure you get enough sleep and make sure you keep yourself healthy. Make that money, but also take care of yourself. We love you. All right. So what question were we on? So we were talking about the Quest.
We were on the second one. Yeah, the Quest versus the Thing.
Yeah, the Quest is great, man. I just want to make sure we are, we're all on the same page. Like, the Quest is great, and the fact is that when we were on Without Parole 3.5 years ago, we were talking about every single console. We were talking about every single game that came out. We were just an all-encompassing new games, retro games, everything games channel. And man, it was because the PlayStation VR did something revolutionary that I said, all that stuff is over. We're now just talking about PlayStation VR all the time. And I was so lucky that Jeremy got on board, Michelle got on board, Des got on board. They're all like, fucking, all right, that's what you want to do. We're on board. And we all fell in love with it. And so I'm very loyal. I don't want to just go, hey, you know what? People are interested in the Quest right now. Let's go make Quest content. I'm not that kind of person. If I was interested in if I was interested in just getting a lot of subscribers and a lot of views, then we wouldn't have covered PlayStation VR in the first place, because the
Right.
growth
It's not
was
about
so
that.
slow that it was
It's
the
not
dumbest
about-
possible move I could have made.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's if I wanted, just more views and stuff, I would upload videos every day of cats reacting to fidget spinners.
That's a great idea. We should totally do that instead of this VR thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do this because I have a love for it and a passion for it, and I get to be immersed in a community that feels the same way, and it's just amazing. And I'm not gonna just hop to the next thing because it's more popular. Like, that's just not. I'm not here to be a popular YouTuber or whatever. I'm here because I
Sorry.
freaking love PlayStation VR.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, yeah, because it froze again.
Kev Gretsch
I was
thought
about
you
to
got
switch
sick of
over
it.
to.
Sick of us.
No, I was going to switch to my phone, and then it came back. So, yeah, no, this computer is so goddamn hot. Oh, it's so hot. Yeah, it's insanely
Really
hot.
so hot.
It's probably cooking all the internal mechanisms there. should-
Also, I think
Make an egg on this thing.
to me,
Nice.
in the long run too. Like,
Can
I
you-
know
Cheddar cheese,
some people.
onions. Can you
I know some people are getting a little restless about hearing about some people want to wait for the PSVR 2 and stuff, and I know that's a long wait for some, but I really believe that it's going to be something pretty big. I think for some reason there's just something that PlayStation has just always been one step ahead of the curve. Like, I don't know, and I feel like the next PSVR that comes out could be 2 years from now or whatever. I think it could be pretty huge. I think it's going to just have the right feel that I like. Look at how the PSVR gets compared in comfort to everything else. How everyone says it's the most comfortable headset. I know the controllers are not, they don't have joysticks and stuff, but I will say the way they feels really good to me.
Yeah.
I like holding the smaller like touch controllers, whatever I use with the other things.
Oh, the Quest
they felt
controllers, yeah, they're really small.
They're really small. They don't like I don't know. There's just something I don't doesn't just click with me for some reason. So I don't know how Sony just does it, but man, they always have my number when it comes to like having this the feel of the controllers and stuff for me. I've always liked their controllers. And if you look at people that love Xbox too, they always like Xbox controllers. And I've been the opposite. I've always, every single DualShock that has come out, I've always loved. And I feel the same way, even though the moves are dated. I won't argue that. The moves are dated technology. And you know, the PS4 is not really built to be super high end PlayStation. I'm sorry, super high end VR. It still gets the job done for me.
I like people in the comments telling Dave how to fix his computer. Decepticon's like, blow on it.
Yeah.
Like treat it like an NES card.
This is my work laptop,
Man.
so I can't really do much of anything
days.
to it. I just got to send it in.
David, before we can continue with the conversation, you want to hit that tree guy for me?
This is my tree place. This is my tree world.
That's from Joshua McCrory with $9.99, $10 donation saying, what brought you guys to VR at first? For me, it started
I like
with
this
books.
question.
Otherland by Tad Williams is one of my favorites. Can I answer first? Because I think
Yes.
my answer is going to be everyone's answer.
Nope, not mine.
No, fine, be that way, dick. When I was like 15, I remember watching The Lawnmower Man.
Lawnmower Man. I knew that was gonna.
Yeah.
that is the popular answer.
Right, and I mean, I know VR was talked about before then. You know, Sega Genesis was, or there were prototypes for Sega Genesis and Atari Jaguar VR headsets, and they never came to market for good reason. We know, because they just need too much power to fucking deal with that shit. But the Lawnmower Man was like such a it just did everything right for a 15-year-old kid. It said, here's the future, and here's how you're gonna play games, and here's how you interact, and it was more accurate than I think most people realized, and it was way ahead of its time. But that was it for me, man. And I've been excited for VR for the last 25 years because of that movie. What about you guys?
Dave, you want me to go?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
So I actually didn't ever expect VR to be a thing. Like, you know, I had messed with a Virtual Boy, and I think in like 1995, 1996, I tried some like ride at a carnival, and it was like 3D wireframe VR, and it was like yellow and blue and red lines, and it sucked. Much different than what you see today. But what actually got me to buy a VR was actually light gun gaming. I was obsessed with the sharpshooter when the moves came out. I was hoping for something like that to happen. And they had the sharpshooter that came out, the little individual guns. They had Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, House of the Dead Overkill, Mag,
The Shoot.
Killzone, Resistance, these different. The Shoot,
So bad.
Time Crisis, Rising Storm, or whatever. And so when I saw the trailer for how Until Dawn: Rush of Blood, I was like, this is where light gun gaming is going. And man, I had no idea. I mean, like Brian, like probably most of you, I was falling out of gaming. I loved my PS4. I played Bloodborne, No Man's Sky, Rocket League. I loved, but something just started to feel like it was missing. Something was just, a formula felt like it was being repeated too much. And the younger generation loved this formula, but I was getting like, I'm like, oh, I've just done this too many times. Like, it's the gameplay itself. The storytelling was different, but the gameplay was starting to see like similarities. So I was always looking for something new, some new experience, because I feel like I had exhausted everything. And I went back and I played all of the retro games I could possibly get my hands on, beat like 9 Castlevanias, just went through the whole list of them, found some great things. But then when VR happened, man, it just blew my mind. House of the Dead was everything I could have wanted. I used to love this arcade game called Carnival.
Yes.
But it was so difficult. It was so cheap and so crap. And so this was like a real PlayStation game that was like Carnival, mixing horror, light gun shooting, House of the Dead. So, man, I just, it absolutely blew me away. And I never expected to be making a YouTube channel ever. I never even liked like, talking to people online before VR, and it has changed so much, so many things about myself that VR has changed for me, not just from like a gaming standpoint, but from a social aspect as well. Just craziness.
So your answer is light gun shooters.
Like gun
shooters.
shooters.
Good. I'll just give the Cliff Notes version over here.
Yeah. Too long, didn't watch.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to go on that long.
No, you're good. Mine is actually not that exciting compared to those. Like, I didn't have this childhood interest where I thought, oh man, I can't wait till that's the future. And I also didn't have the sort of disillusionment with flat screen gaming. But I'm always into new gizmos and gadgets and tech shit. I always have been. And I had just built a new computer around the time that the Oculus developer kits were coming out. And so I got a DK2. And the fun of just like making it work, seeing what was out there, it was all like little like independent kind of like test projects, like tech demos and stuff. But just like the hunt to see what VR could be was really cool at that time. And then when I saw the PSVR come out, I hadn't followed it too much, but I tried a demo at Best Buy, and I was like, whoa, this is not like the Oculus developer kit at all. These are games. Like, I was in Eve Valkyrie, and I was like, holy shit, this is like solid. So I hadn't put any planning into it. I didn't pre-order anything. I just ran all around town on the day of, buying every piece of it individually. So I spent like $800 on the shit. I had to go all sourcing all the individual like camera, move controllers here, headset here, games here, whatever. But it was so worth it. I got super into it. And then I discovered the share button where I could stream to YouTube, and the rest is history, I guess they say.
The funny thing is I mean, I came this close to not having a PSVR headset at launch because I was coming off of like probably the worst month I'd ever had at the restaurant. I had pre-ordered the pre-orders went available for the VR headset, and then I was just like, the money wasn't coming in, and I was just like struggling paying bills. And I just remember it was the very last day, like the night before it would have shipped, and I was like, I gotta cancel my pre-order. And I went on Amazon, and it had just shipped, like from the. Like,
oh no!
And I was like, I guess I'm okay. Well, I guess I'm kind of forced into this now. But I was able to cancel a couple of the games. Like I canceled Drive Club and I think Eve Valkyrie. So like to kind of knock down the price a little bit. So I was still able to cancel those, and then it showed up the next day because Amazon's amazing, and I played the Drive Club demo. And immediately went back on Amazon. I was like, no, reorder that. I want that. Like, I don't care. Money is no longer an issue. I'm buying every fucking thing I can for this.
I think part of getting into PSVR is just like at a certain point, like burning your wallet. Just saying, I don't care about this money anymore. This money is gone. And what are you going to do about it? Oh,
I'm really hoping that
Get the
you're.
fuck out of here! Fuck you!
Man.
it's
That comes from, I got this one.
Thank you.
That comes from, you got cold yogurt with the $2 donation. Says, I got a bonus at work. That's where it started. Nice. I went completely broke buying PSVR. I was so broke and so hurting. I had also bought a 4K TV on the previous Black Friday, and I was reeling, but it was worth every second of struggle and suffering and whatever. You guys ready for the last question?
I'm still paying off credit card bills from that fucking PSVR.
Craziness.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Guys,
no.
before I feel like we missed something really important. We were talking about the console wars and whatever. But I think one of the things we didn't really tackle is Sony's silence on everything right now. And I think people are forgetting just how important the PlayStation 4 still is to Sony. And
Right.
I'm wondering if they're kind of holding back because they don't want to mix messages. I think The Last of Us 2 is going to be one of the biggest games this entire generation. And just to go along with that, Ghost of Tsushima has an amazing reputation, and the thing's not even out yet. So
It's going to be incredible.
So
They have a lot going on. I actually expected them to hold off as long as possible last year, but I didn't see it going on this long. But now I see so many reasons why it could actually be a good thing, like in hindsight. I expect either a delay or like a delay of the the system and they say, I'm sorry due to global issues. There's reasons, or they could release it at first with a limited supply. I could see that as well. So it could be kind of hard to get one at launch, and then easier towards like middle of next year, spring of next year. Or they just straight push it back to spring of next year, which I wouldn't blame them personally. I wouldn't completely blame them. I think we all want to be excited. We all want to do. But yeah, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima comes out in June. And yeah, I don't know. With E3 canceled, who knows, man? Obviously, they weren't going to be there anyways. But
yeah, these are games that I think you don't want to allow these games to get overshadowed by announcement of a new console. You want your loyal fan base to understand that as a company, as a brand, PlayStation is 100% behind their consoles. Whereas, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking shit about Xbox.
Everyone's going to be shouting about the handheld Sony consoles, and they're going to say they don't actually care about their consoles because they abandoned them.
I mean, there is a reason for argument there, that's for sure. But
I mean, people always say the PSVR is like those because supposedly Sony's abandoned it.
That's an uninformed comment.
It is. I agree.
Because Sony did not support the Vita nearly as long as they've been supporting the PlayStation VR. Talking about a PlayStation VR 2 publicly with Mark Cerny in the Wired interview, saying that this is a new medium. Handhelds are a fucking old medium. It's like in handhelds didn't work out for them, but pushing a new
Switch
medium
also
forward
has
is a
everyone.
story.
Switch has everyone killed in handhelds.
Also,
anyways.
Yeah.
Nintendo in general has always had everyone killed. Sony
Always
was stupid
ruled
to
the
even get
handheld
into the market. But that's
they've always had great first party games and characters, first party IPs and handhelds. They've always crushed it.
Yeah, no.
The Wii U was very successful as well. Forget the Wii U, which I love the Wii U, but it was not successful at all.
Yeah, but I mean, oops, I dropped him.
That means you have to tip now, Dave. Damn it. That's the rule.
All right. So for the but yeah, anything else you want to say on the great console war?
I just think that Sony's actually doing everything right now. I think they've got, unlike Xbox, they have amazing exclusives on the way, and they don't have to talk about PlayStation 5 yet. Anyone who has a PlayStation 4 still has so many things to be excited about over the rest of the year. Whereas
right.
Other than multi-platform games, I don't think there's just that level of interest in the Xbox game library. You gotta
remember too. Once PS5 is officially announced, there's gonna be a ton of VR developers that are going to be announcing games for PS5 as well.
Yeah.
They can't say anything right now, most likely, but and some might be waiting for the second gen of PSVR as well. So there's so many factors that could go into this that could really change the outcome of what's going to happen. But all I know, despite I will say I was a little nervous with the new leadership because I think it's going to be very hard to replicate the glory years of early 2010s, where you had Mark Cerny, not Jim Ryan, but Jack Tretton, Sean Layden, Geo, all these guys, Adam Boyes. That was like the dream team for PlayStation marketing, and it was amazing. And I think. Not only do we have a new regime kind of running the show, but they've also got right off the bat, have some things that they got to hurdle over, some trouble that they got to overcome. So definitely, it could go anyway. But all I know is that, like I said, always 25 years, and I haven't been let down yet. So there's no reason. This end of console generation is so much bigger than the end of the PS3 console generation. The PS3 ended with like Last of Us. This is Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Iron Man VR, Final Fantasy 7, tons of stuff. And not to mention what we're getting we just heard about Good Goliath like a couple days ago, and it's about to come out now. Like,
there's going to be some surprises. You guys, have you watched footage of Good Goliath?
Yes.
Like from Ian on Eurogamer?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
from Ian on Eurogamer.
Yeah.
I don't... Not to throw shade at anybody, but I'm not excited about Good Goliath. It looks like a thing where people throw the same items at you over and over again, and you just grab them and throw them back. It's a wave shooter with throwing.
It is wave shooter.
And PSVR doesn't do well with throwing. and he played it on.
I just played
with
2
better controllers. So
PSVR is very well capable.
that's the only game that does that.
Job Simulator does it as well too.
It's okay in Drop Sim. You're right.
It's a coding thing. It's a developer thing. It's not a. It is difficult, but
Super
it
Hot
is
makes
doable.
me think otherwise, but
I know, but I think that's the way they programmed it, not because
no,
of the
there
tracking.
is something when you're throwing something, having 2 things to grip instead of 1 thing to grip does feel more natural, and the release is more natural. But anyways, we're not going to get into that right now.
I will say in response to the Good Goliath, I mean, other than the throwing aspect, which we'll see once we play it.
It seemed like a samey wave shooter to me. I don't know what was so appealing about it. I'm not sure.
The thing that makes me worry about judging things too early, which obviously I do all the time, but but things like Stardust Odyssey, even when we played it, I looked at the gameplay footage and went, this isn't, even looking at the footage I just captured of the game of me while I was playing it, looked boring. Or it didn't look very interesting, but yet I was in that game and I was like, "This is fucking cool, man!" Like, and I just don't want to judge anything before I get my hands on it, especially with something like this. That's it looks extremely.
Mark says Spark did throwing well.
Spark does throwing pretty well. That's
Spark
true.
was interesting.
I guess I struggled to find where the hype is coming from.
Well, you're gonna just have to wait, man.
I mean, I don't think there's hype. I think it looks like a fun, goofy game, and it's going to be a fun, goofy budget wave shooter. It's
okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
that was a sidetrack. Anyways, let's. We have a number 3 question, don't we?
Oh yes.
Are you going to take that third one?
Comes from Manic Viper in the Discord and says #Viewer Takeover. If a new PSVR controller were suddenly dropped onto the market featuring the long-for analog sticks, what would be the first game you'd want to play with them?
I mean,
very interesting.
I think my simple answer would be Skyrim.
Don't take my answer.
Skyrim VR.
Skyrim, why? Because I have no problem playing Skyrim with the way it is right now.
I don't have any problem playing any games with the way they are right now.
I have a problem with some.
I mean, I don't. I think a lot of people jumping into PlayStation VR for the first time right now. I've seen so many comments from so many people being like, "Oh, these fucking Move controllers, they're so fucking garbage. When are we getting analog sticks?" And that was me 3 years ago. I was the guy putting up a Change.org petition to get analog sticks on Move controllers. Like I was like, "Oh, this is terrible." But give it some time.
What I've learned,
and everything works, and it actually feels pretty good because we've all kind of acclimated, and we go, well, this is what we've got to work with right now, and it was the cheapest alternative. And, like we have PlayStation VR headsets meant to be kind of affordable on the console that we currently own already. So I don't mind having to use Move controllers. There's a learning curve, so just get over the learning curve, and it's fine. But 99% of the games are just totally fine with them.
It's mostly has to do with the learning curve, and I think some are just able to adapt faster than others. But sometimes they do. It's like, why would you? There have been some games that are like offenders of bad controller mapping.
Sure. Absolutely.
But one thing I used to think the same thing, or used to wonder the same thing until my friend made me play like a mobile game, and it's like a newer mobile game. It's not like like a point and click like Sims Farmville kind of game. It was like active controls and stuff like that. And I realized that I had no idea what I was doing, and that made it a little frustrating. And I think that's kind of the similar knee-jerk reaction you can see a bunch where you have this whole new controller scheme that you're just not used to seeing before, and there's a learning curve to it. And now that I've played like just about every single variation of things, it's like second nature to me. And it just took a while to learn it, but but I do agree. But my game, 110%, most games I can play with fine, would be Doom VFR.
Why? What's wrong with that game? That game plays just fine. What are you talking about, man? That was great. That game's perfect. That game's perfect as is. What are you talking about? I can play it just fine. I don't have any problem with that. Sorry.
Of all the games, Doom VFR is one where I'm like, I enjoyed it with the Move controllers, but it was like the second I wanted to make it like really hard difficulty, like one shot and I'm dead, it was like impossible because it's just clunky and you run into the walls and you can't turn. There's no turn buttons. Yes, you can physically turn, but that can cause you to lose tracking and stuff. So 110% Doom VFR, because I do believe that is the the most fun and immersive way to play it, and was really cool to play Doom a different way like that.
Oh man, in the chat they're talking about Arizona Sunshine being unplayable with the moves, and that's my favorite way to play it. I'm actually not a big fan of Arizona Sunshine with the aim controller. I prefer it with the moves.
Yeah.
Well, shit, AJ, I was going to say Doom VFR, especially because, like, so everyone's big complaint is that if you play with the aim or the DualShock 4, your grenade launcher is, like, plastered to the front of your face. If you had your grenade launcher in your left trigger hand and your regular gun in your right trigger hand, and you could move fully with the sticks and turn the camera and stuff, that would be pretty satisfying. Like, just pull out your left hand, give them a little grenade, switch over to your right hand, you know, that kind of thing. But I would, yeah, I mean, that was the one I was going to say too. Damn it.
As long as when they, if Bethesda was to patch in controls for a new control scheme, whatever, for new controllers, as long as they allow us to keep playing that way with the old, you know, they give you an option. Do you want to play with the teleportation with the move controllers, or do you want to play with this new option? Because it's so obvious that was the game they were designing the whole time. It's like they were designing this teleportation game, and that was focused around slowing time down and being able to teleport behind your enemy and shooting them when their defenses are down. It's a whole different game. It's just Doom when you play it with the aim controller or the DualShock 4 in VR. It's just
now hold on.
Which
Here's
is
the
great.
thing. When you say it's just Doom in VR, I want to reiterate that that's not.
It's not a bad thing,
But
It's more like Doom
that's an
2016.
incredible thing.
But
it's an incredible thing.
It didn't feel like
If you get to
entirely
play
like a
Doom.
normal Doom.
sure,
to me.
I-
Feel like
but
that.
it delivered a
Something
new
like
experience with the
halfway
move controllers. It's not
Right.
a different kind
it is
of Doom.
very much different. It was a very different experience with the move controller, which is why I used to love it with that the most. However, just the teleport only, no turn buttons kills me.
The other one I would say is not for the movement per se, but for the menus, Skyrim VR. Because if I had a stick that I could use to get through all those goddamn menus instead of going,
Yeah. Yeah, AJ didn't give me a chance to explain.
I hated it.
I actually
menus in Skyrim VR are terrible with a move controller. Don't even tell me they're not. They are terrible with.
Actually, I don't mind I don't mind it at all.
But if you had a stick, you would.
I will tell you,
immediately like it better.
the galactic map in No Man's Sky, I think, is 10 times worse than the map in Skyrim. But everything else in No Man's Sky, the menus, shifting through the menus, the backpack, all that's much better than Skyrim.
That's what I mean.
system.
I don't mean the map. I'm
But the
talking about
galactic
Skyrim.
map, the map is the only thing I have a problem I have
Yeah.
with the No Man's Sky one,
That's a pain.
because it's like weird how you have to point it. Do it.
Don't tweet me! For you! Fuck you!
And that comes via. You never know with Tree Guy.
No, you don't.
That comes
Yeah.
via Hugh Guyver, Matt Guyver's cousin. Shout out to Matt
Hey, what's
Guyver.
up to your cousin?
Hugh Guyver with the Aussie $10 donation. Says, gonna watch later. Brian Pizza Fund donation deployed.
Thank you so much. That pizza fund is going to a very, very good place, directly to my stomach.
A very,
Thank you
very
so
good
much.
pizza.
Yes, a very good pizza.
I actually went and bought a couple frozen pizzas. Got stuffed crust, supreme.
Ooh, stuffed
I
crust.
like veggies and meat combination on my pizza.
I feel like stuffed
veggies
crust is not.
and meat.
I feel like stuffed crust was not universally brought to like mom and pop pizza shops.
Stuffed
So
crust is a
No, it
national
wasn't.
treasure.
It was
Yeah.
not.
It should be though, right?
It should be everywhere. I mean,
How does everybody not like stuffed crust?
the more cheese, the better.
The only
Dave,
thing
you
for me,
are-
it's like, what's
They might
wrong
have a
with me?
patent on it.
I
Then
can-
you might
feel
get
fine.
sued.
I feel fine.
Okay, well, Dave,
I-
we can hear you just
Oh,
fine,
that's
so
fine.
keep going.
Oh
right.
man, can we talk about pizza for a minute? No,
Dude,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm gonna make some pizza after this, maybe.
Dude, I was on
know,
the
I
phone
might
with
do
AJ
that.
last night, right? And so I was getting a pizza delivery. I was talking to AJ on the phone, and I get another phone call, and it's the pizza guy making the delivery. and I go, hello, and he goes, hey, Kelly's Square Pizza, I'm outside your door. And so I was like, but he must mean he's downstairs, outside the apartment, like outside the building, outside the door. He needs to be let in. And so I go over to my apartment door. I open it up to go into the hallway. He's standing right there with a pizza box. I'm like, so you called instead of just knocking? Like just
That is
knock on the
weird.
door.
That's weird to get right there.
But it was a nice surprise because I hate having to go all the way downstairs. I'm like, I get a delivery for a reason. I want it to come to my door. It's really nice. I'm lazy.
Vash the Danish says thoughts on the Taco Bell triple chalupa.
Is there a
I-
triple? What is a triple
I've
chalupa?
never had this.
Can you see me
my
again?
my Taco
can.
Bell in
You're
my
good.
area is garbage. It might just be any Taco Bell. I doubt that though. But my Taco Bell, I'm a firm believer that it is the worst Taco Bell in the nation. And
Damn.
yeah, so I don't go near Taco Bell.
I'm taking a look at these triple chalupas. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, they're like all connected.
It's like just more. It's like a canoe with meat in it.
It's human centipede, but with tacos. Is what it is.
I can no
It's
longer
chalupa,
even.
chalupa human centipede. I can't order this.
Can
I thought
never
it was
eat
like
Taco
I thought
Bell
it was
again.
3
You're welcome.
layers.
You are
I was
all
hoping it was
cured.
like 3 layers of chalupa around it, but that's
Taco
not
Bell
at all what it
addiction.
is. What kind of box do you get this shit in? This is like a Subway.
Warren
footlong
Gore
or some shit.
says, "You guys are right. When I first got PSVR, I hated that it didn't have the analog stick, but now I've gotten used to it and probably wouldn't know how to play with one." That's so funny that he says that because I fear getting joysticks now. I'm like, I feel like it's going to feel so foreign to me. I know it's a stupid thing to say, and I know I will, of course, figure it out really fast. But there is in the back of my head, I'm just like it's going to feel so weird to me to have joysticks.
Yeah, you'll get over it really fast for sure.
Yeah, I will.
Because even I was playing Face Your Fears 2 on Quest the other night, and it was nice. I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm not. It's just because it functions like a normal DualShock 4, right? It's like both analog sticks have their purpose, and it's good stuff. So yeah, this transition will be a seamless one, but I'm no longer of the opinion that we need them now. This is ridiculous, which a lot of people still are, which is crazy.
By the way, about the pizza and delivery, Dave Page says, "I've noticed millennials never knock; they text from the front door."
The guy was older than I was, so that doesn't stack up. Nice. You know what? So while we were before Rypop took leave, he left us a awesome viewer takeover question in the chat. So you guys mind if I read this one?
Yeah, let's do it.
No. And anybody else, if you guys have any questions you want us to answer at the end of the show, just
I
let
will
us know.
say we're closely approaching our 1 hour.
We might get a couple ones in there.
Okay.
All right, because we started this really late. When did we actually start this?
I don't know how long this has been going on for.
It was at 8. We've been going for about an hour.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. Good call. All right. Well, Johnny Rypop, the stray cat, wrote, hashtag viewer takeover. Yes, it's a thing. What are your thoughts on Sony quite possibly buying all of Konami's IPs like Castlevania, Metal Gear, and Silent Hill? Y'all are so breathtaking.
Okay, so the rumor about the Konami and Kojima and Sony trying to push to make a new game, first party game for the PS5, that one made sense to me because it was like you had these tweets from Kojima, you had these tweets from artists that worked on Silent Hill. There was a lot of stuff that was like kind of sneaky and like adding up. Now, that being said, those were from a source that had 100% credit from making predictions about or leaking rumors about Death Stranding, and that turned out to be 100% correct. So that person has a track record saying that that it was believable. However, they also said in that same one that Sony wasn't planning to buy the Silent Hill IP, that they were just trying to mend the relationship and get a first party deal going with Silent Hill and maybe potentially adding VR support to it as well. This one was a random post on 4chan, and I don't know if this person has a history of being right on something, which would be awesome. But as far as I know, it was just anonymous, and it was just somebody posting anonymously on 4chan going, Sony wants to buy Metal Gear Solid, like all of Konami's biggest things. And to me, I'm less likely to believe that one. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely. Like I would, if Metal Gear and Castlevania and Silent Hill all became first party titles for Sony, oh my God, dude, they would have the entire next generation just like in their palm of their hand immediately. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
I mean, surface level, this doesn't sound possible, right? When you first hear this, you go, that's like, I mean, be crazy expensive. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. And why would Konami start wanting to part with all of their IP? But then you think
I would say, here's the thing. Konami would make way more money selling this than they would trying to make their own original games in these franchises
Right.
because they have no fucking idea what
Selling
to
it
do.
or licensing,
And they're not even trying. I mean, they might use it to make like a Metal Gear pachinko machine, but like that's all they're using it for.
Yeah. It's
And
been
so at
so
the end of
long.
the day, like if they've decided they're not going to make games in these franchises anymore because they don't have the creative talent and they can't sell these games without those Kojima's behind it or that kind of thing, like I'd say just sell them, man. Like that's a smart business.
You think they make? But why would they sell them if they could just license them and still make money off of them and let everyone else do the work?
Because they
I
they
guess
obviously,
you could.
they obviously have a good good relationship with Sony, and I think the
Yeah,
thing is
absolutely.
if Sony was like, part of the deal is, don't
Sony
worry.
made I don't mean to cut you off, but Sony did make the remasters of the Requiem, Castlevania Requiem. They that was developed and ported by Sony.
Well, I mean, they have a good reputation. Or, God, I keep saying reputation as a relationship. They have a good relationship with Sony, and one of the many things they could do as part of this deal is say, listen, if making pachinko machines is something you want to do with this IP, then we won't charge you. We won't force you to have a licensing fee when you use them after we buy them. By all means, go forth and pachinko the fuck out of these things. We won't interfere with that side of your business, which seems to be a majority of their business these days. The last big game we saw from any of these, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Metal Gear Survive. And even the last
calling that a big game is like almost overstepping some.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like
Stepping on the foot of every hardcore gamer in the history of gaming.
I mean, it just got completely panned. I don't think anybody really played it that much.
It was terrible.
No, they learned.
right.
Hopefully, they learned a hard lesson, saying you can't just shit out a game. Most gamers are smarter than that. You can't just kick Kojima to the curb and say, okay, here's your next Metal Gear game, and he has nothing to do with it. I think that the hardcore Metal Gear fans know better. So the more you talk about this, and the more we kind of like reason it out, the more likely it sounds that this could potentially be a thing. I was comparing.
I mean, it's a good idea for everybody. Like Konami's not going to do anything with these. Sony could do a lot with these.
This is right up Sony's alley, right?
Even if
best
they
thing-
didn't get Kojima, if they didn't get Kojima at all, it wouldn't matter. Like they could find one of the studios they own to make a good Silent Hill game. Like I don't know. I guess my screen is all fucked up.
I know,
Are you
I'm-
seeing me as like a? I'm gonna drop for a second.
I'm
try and get back
trying
on.
to see.
Yeah, this is like Sony's MO through and through. Like single player adventure games are what Sony does best, and so
Right. And they said that they're going to be keeping the focus on single player story driven games.
And so getting licenses for these things, I mean, and honestly, I don't even know if I'd want any of Sony's first party studios working on a Castlevania game. I would much rather have them license it out and get From Software to be like, hey, you guys killed it with Bloodborne, make that again, but with Castlevania. Like that's when I played Bloodborne, that's what I was thinking constantly. I was like, this is so much better
From
than Lords
Software.
of Shadow bullshit from PS3.
Hey, easy.
No, those games were like Castlevania 64 all over again.
They were really bad. No, the storytelling and the graphics and like the world and everything was like a 10 out of 10, and the gameplay was like a 1 out of 10.
I thought they were like weak God of War games, man. Like I didn't even think
Right.
they didn't run as
weak God
smoothly.
of War
They didn't
games.
look as good.
But they even though the stories weren't canon, they were really good. And if you played Lords of Shadow 1 and then Mirror of Fate, which was remastered on PS3, it was also a 3DS game. Those tied together with a really cool story and lore, not canon though. And then Lords of Shadow 2, this is the problem with not having a Sony first party developer, is that Lords of Shadow 2, that company had some awful development hell issues. They had like awful issues with leadership, with lots of things and it showed. The game was terrible. Lords of Shadow 2 is one of my biggest like letdowns in gaming history for me, besides Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Always with Konami.
the more we talk about this, the more plausible it becomes. I compared this to a Shark Tank deal, right? It's like people go into the Shark Tank and they start off and they say, oh, for $200,000 you can buy 10% of my company, right? And then inevitably there's always that one shark that goes, would you sell your company? Would you sell the entire thing for $7 million? And I just picture that happening with Konami. Like the negotiations are happening for Silent Hills, and then at some point one of the guys just goes, "What? How much do you want for all of it? We'll just take it all. How much money?"
I sure hope so. That would be amazing if all that stuff became first party. Oh my god, it'd be like a dream come true. Also, Purified says, "Hey man, don't diss Castlevania 64."
Yeah, okay. So Castlevania 64 is actually a lot of fun. I have that and Legacy of Darkness.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a lot of fun either, but it's not bad.
How does it compare to Doom 64?
I mean, dude, Nintendo made Doom 64, didn't they? Like Nintendo themselves. I think they made that game.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to look into the legacy of how
It
that all
wasn't
went
I
down.
still have. I actually still have Castlevania 64 on cartridge. I don't have Doom anymore. I could barely remember it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I wish I still had Doom on floppy disk. That
Dude,
was
the
my
64
favorite.
was just rough all
The
around.
other, I want to say, just to get kind of back to the question here, real quick. The idea of Sony and Kojima perhaps coming together on these franchises is very exciting to me because I know that both Sony and Kojima are interested in VR. That is factual. That's been documented. We know Sony's interested, but we also know Kojima's interested in VR too.
Right.
And so if they could give him a kind of proposition, say like, hey, we bought this franchise. We want you to bring this into VR with us. I think he would do it. I think that would be excellent.
Yeah, well, I mean, all those rumors for Silent Hills do seem to be pointing to PlayStation VR as well.
Hell yeah.
We do have two questions. One from Dave Page and one from Matt Marjanovic, who says, with the PS5, and how much will it cost?
Can you repeat the question? You did cut out for a
Yeah,
second.
sorry. I saw
You
my
did
mic
it,
cut out for a
Dave.
second.
You did it, Dave. There.
It just came loose. Sorry. Matt Marjanovic said, he basically said, because of COVID-19, what do we expect the PS5 to launch and how much? I basically already said it earlier, but yeah, if you guys want to just say what you thought real quick, just want to answer his question.
I mean, I think
what's
a lot
your
of stuff-
prediction? Do you think it will get delayed, or do you think it will release on time?
Here's the thing: there is no time that we have, so there's no delay.
Holiday
so at this
2020.
point, yeah, but I mean, that
is the time window that they said already. So
it's a window.
is it going to be?
It's a window.
Is it going to be
What I'm
holiday
saying is-
2020, or is it going to be delayed? It's an easy question.
Okay, fair enough.
Just a guess. You obviously you don't know. It's just a
I
guess.
think almost everything in the world will be affected by this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And neither Xbox nor Sony has already announced that they're going to have shortages or they won't make their timetable. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a situation where it's like unintentionally the PS5 becomes like a Switch. Like Nintendo manufactures scarcity. They make sure that there aren't enough out there. So you get excited and you can't wait to get your hands on one. PlayStation has never done that.
No.
But I think they may be in a situation where they have to put out scarcity because that's, like they can make the deadline to get
But they're
some
gonna
of
launch
them
a
out
limited
there.
supply.
And
I
I don't
think
think
that
the
could work
price,
at their
I don't think
favor.
the price
I think
would be affected. But I think the date for getting one, like consistently just walking into a store and buying one, might be a few months out from the release date, based on being able to source the hardware.
The problem with
Because
the
I mean,
scarcity
China is where they build all this stuff. So
right. The problem with the scarcity too is it could raise the price. I'm expecting.
I don't think it
500.
will. It's not going to raise the price. I don't think so.
I mean, I'm expecting 500 for the price. What about you guys?
yeah, it sounds right.
I'm preparing for 500. I should say.
Yeah, I think Sony's a little gun shy about having a $500 price tag, but I think ultimately that's what they're going to have to do. I can't imagine being any cheaper, and I'm actually at this point, even with the revealed Xbox Series X specs, they still haven't announced like the Project Lockhart, right? They still haven't said, "Hey, we're also going to have a cheaper model for you." So, I mean, so it sounds like Xbox is probably going to be at 500 or more. So 500 sounds about right to me. As far as the delay goes, I don't think so. I think both companies want to be the first out of the gate, and even if that means with shortages, I think we'll see both this holiday for sure.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. Those are the only other ones I saw. So wanted to answer those.
Pizza time?
Is it pizza time? I'm so excited for pizza time.
Might be pizza time.
All right. Well, listen, guys, this was a nice little change of pace here. It means I don't have to stay up all night editing this thing. So sorry about the non-existent Patreon scroll, but some sacrifices have to be made to do this thing live. And it was so much nicer to do this thing live with all of you guys in the chat. So thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it.
It might not be a thing, but definitely let us
It's not
know.
gonna be a thing.
Hope you guys enjoyed the surprise. We wanted to come kick it with you for a little bit, for sure.
And I want to say, everybody, I was hoping that this would make you stay inside. Don't go out to a restaurant. Don't go out to a bar. Sit inside and watch us surprise you on a Monday night.
Yep.
And keep that mentality going. Don't, even if the bars and restaurants
We
are
have
open,
got some surprises
you don't
for
have
you,
to
for
go
sure.
there. Hold on, I'm just saying, wash your goddamn hands, and that's all.
I'm getting a little tired of people saying that in a condescending way. It's like, it's nice to remind people to say, hey, you know what, be cautious.
Oh, I wasn't being
take
condescending. I'm
precautions.
saying save everyone's lives.
No,
Wash your hands.
I know, but the number of people saying it online and Twitter, saying
Yeah,
it
everybody
condescending
knows, man. All these guys know by now. You don't have to tell them.
Did
We're
you
here
know
to
that
we're here to
20
distract.
seconds? 20
Hey,
seconds.
we are here to distract from this, not talk about it.
Right. In fact,
Okay. All right.
right.
Whatever.
In fact, I think we're going to be upping the number of live streams this week. I know I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams on Without
I'm
Parole.
going to be live streaming more as well.
Right. Hopefully, Dave. Why not, man?
Get on that train.
Just let's play
Sure.
some fucking
Yeah.
games, man, and make sure
All
we get
aboard the Dave train. Choo choo.
with everyone being stuck at home, man. We want to be able to hang out as much as possible. And again, like AJ said, let's distract everyone. Let's distract ourselves because things are weird out there. I don't want to think
it's
about
just
it.
for me. It's not for anyone else. It's just for me.
Excellent. Well, that's great. All right, guys. Well, listen. Make sure you change your name to GameCat. Put hashtag GameCat in the comments of any one of our videos. If you change your name to GameCat, so you get a shout out on next week's show. Also, if you want to be part of next week's show, make sure you put the hashtag Viewer Takeover, all one word, in the comments of any of our videos, so we can read it, check it out, answer it. Who knows? We might even make fun of you a little bit. We'll talk about it. We'll see what happens. Also, join our Discord. Discord link's in the description below. That's where we hang out. That's where this chat happens 24/7. And that's where you can leave your Viewer Takeover questions there as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to Dave over at Dave Station VR. That link should be in the description. I don't know. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. And AJ.
You can probably find me anyways.
Yeah, if you type in Dave Station, it just pops right up. And then, of course, PSVR Underground, AJ there. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. And that is pretty much it. Guys, thank you so very much for hanging out with you. We love you all.
Love you guys.
Thanks
What's
for
up,
tuning in,
Game
guys.
Cats? This is your boy Todd Gill. Watching my daughter play some kitten. PSVR. This is Princess Tegan, the VR gamer girl.
Daddy, it's done.
You done? Why, Princess Tegan?
It's time for Viewer Takeover with Johnny and
Oh, awesome. Let's go watch Viewer Takeover.
Okay.
AJ, you got any fun self-quarantine stories? What have you been up to in your house? What have you been up to?
Like I said, man. What was that guy's name? Rona Man? Rona Defender?
Oh,
Rona
Rona
Crusader?
Defender. Everybody go look up Rona Defender. That guy's
Yeah,
awesome.
go look up Rona Defender and
Memphis,
go look up
Tennessee. He's out there in the
Shed.
mall.
Go look at the Shed Aquarium. Go watch the penguins walking around as tourists. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Meow.